Hello, hello. Here we are. Welcome to Workshop One. I am so glad that you are here and I hope you love the series. Brand new workshops are going to be going live every single day. So please subscribe, follow along, and pick and choose the ones that work for you. We are beginning here today. How can other people create sales for your business? I sold a £2,000 service in a 3 minute conversation for another business. And there are so many learnings in this procedure, in this operation, and it was totally done off the cuff. So let's jump in. If we are meeting for the first time, I'm Nikki and I have helped thousands, hundreds of clients to activate and illuminate their personal brand over the last 15 years. And for the last 25 years, I've been activating and illuminating my own. I'm a qualified coach, trained actor, global speaker, creator, and collaborator. And these workshops, as I mentioned, go live every single day. This is a library for you to dig into whenever you need to. Personally, for me, I love long form. I love things that I can get stuck into, but are also really short and snappy, and I can get lots of takeaways. So feel free to subscribe. And secondly, if you want longer workshops and access to secret playlists, you can go to the workshop page on my website. If you are interested in becoming a client or you have a collaboration idea or something else, feel free to email me hello@nickyraby.com. Right. Let's figure out what we're going to be talking about today. If you haven't grabbed a piece of paper and a pen, by the way, please do so, because with all of these workshops, I'm going to be sharing a bit of a story, but I'm also going to be giving you lots of exercises, lots of action points, lots of things for you to think about. And so it's never about getting to the end of the workshop super quickly. I want you to be able to implement as you go. So the first thing we're going to be looking at is the behind the scenes of how this £2,000 deal was actually created in a 3 minute conversation. The second thing is all around how to design offers that fulfill all elements of your ideal client. And thirdly, an exercise to design and deliver content that welcomes those easeful everyday sales. So let me set the scene. I'm going to take you back to 2022. And here I am with my magical keys. Here I am looking a lot younger in this picture. I mean, it was 4 years ago, but there we go. Anyway, we were in 2022. The world was still unpredictable. It was not in a great spot. Our process of moving house had been long and drawn out and complicated, 5 months of back and forth, and there got to be certain points where I thought this is never going to happen. Fortunately, it did. We were so ready to make this move. We'd lived in the same house for 11 years, and we started in that house as two people and we left as four. And we were looking at removal companies that we wanted to use locally. We weren't traveling very far, and so we were looking for recommendations ourselves. And the people that we hired were amazing. 4 hours, 5 men, 2 trips. And the whole process was smooth, it was seamless, and I also had a very potentially awkward conversation with one of the guys. And you know, when they come up to you and they stand and they go and they stare at you first, like just gauging where you are emotionally. And this guy said to me, "So, the sofa." And I thought, here we go. We have a giant corner sofa. And he said, "We are struggling to get the other bit through the front door." And immediately I thought, right, okay, what are we going to do? And the alternative I knew was the back door, which has a spiral staircase attached to it. And I thought, I don't want to take up a sofa up a spiral staircase through a back door in that way. But they were happy to do it. They were like, yeah, no problem. We'll figure it out. And so that was a dream. I mean, I had to go upstairs and like hide my face because I couldn't deal with the pressure, but they did it and it happened. And they just had that sense of getting the job done with excellence. So we paid the money, we completed the job, and that was great. Here's how I then went on to sell this business. I was probably out running like this on a school run or running back from the school run, and I ended up having a chat with one of my mum friends. This mum friend is very proficient, very organized. She has 5 kids, so she runs that household like a business, essentially. I mean, she doesn't, her kids are not making money, but everything, there's departments, there's organization, there's schedule. It's kind of not left to chance. And she said to me that they needed to move out of their house very quickly. And the first thing I want to say here is this deal, this bit of business that I helped to generate was not in a fancy office and it wasn't in a suit. It was very off the cuff. And so I want to open up the idea that this is how people are going to be thinking about your business and how they give you money. So going back to my friend, she's got 5 kids. Her husband works on LA time, so he often works throughout the night London time. So they have all sorts of logistics in place, and they urgently needed to move. Now, money was not the only currency here. Obviously, they wanted to get a good deal, but ultimately, what they needed was that reliability, that ease, and it being stress free. They didn't want to encourage that stressful situation. And so they needed somebody who was really going to be understanding of the circumstances. And so I recommended, because we had recently moved, this company, and I said they would be great. And they ticked all of those boxes. And so when we think about recommendations, when we think about those people who are talking about our businesses on behalf of us, I want you to go through this checklist. The only reasons that people are going to recommend something is often if they've had first-hand experience. They have a proof of concept that they can do the job. Are they who they say they are? Do they have a track record? Are they skilled? Can they get the job done? Now, for example, I had this anecdote of me watching a guy when he came to our first house to begin the moving it into the second house. And, suddenly when they come in, it's just like, oh, things are moving fast. And I was kind of getting in the way and I was like, oh, let me know if there's anything I can do. Shall I make a cup of tea? And I watched a guy pick up my son's bookcase under his arm. And he was looking for something to carry in the opposite hand. And I just thought, this is not my skill set. My core strength is not the best part of me. And allowing people to be who they are, to really show their skill set is really important. You have to understand before you recommend a business, what is the problem that they solve and how do they solve it? In terms of added extras, the bonuses, the unexpected surprises, people always remember those things. For example, London parking, if you know, can be precarious. And we were moving at 9 o'clock on a Monday morning. So there was traffic. Also, the place where we were moving to, it's permit parking outside, no driveway, big van, one-way system. You know how it is. And these people brought their own cones. Now, ethically, that might be a little bit borderline, but they were in. They got the spot, they got it sorted, and I didn't have to think about it. I was panicking until about 2 o'clock in the morning thinking, how are these people going to park? Are we going to be carrying beds all the way around the block? But they sorted it. It was fine. They were also really clear on what they were not. We understood the package that they were giving us. They understood that they would bring everything in, but they wouldn't be building it. I'm sure they would build it. Maybe that was another service, but they were being clear about what they were not going to do on that day. They also had a really clear, easy call to action to move the process forward. I don't know about you, but I've been on some websites that are so complicated. And sometimes I don't want to request a callback. I just want to speak to the person. I just want somebody to email me by the end of the day. I just want to feel like I've got a connection with somebody. I want to go through things with a human being. Some people don't want that, by the way. Some people are very happy with a chatbot or they've got the information. But for me personally, it was really important that I spoke to somebody. Finally, I want you to think about how something makes you feel. That attention to detail, that customer service, and what was in their nuanced approach. One of the things that I remember from that experience was they made it really lovely for my kids. And when kids move house, potentially it can be really destabilizing. Their comforts, their everything that they know. My kids were 2 and 6 at the time. And I really thought, gosh, you understand what this is like. They were so careful and thoughtful and chatty. And it's quite weird, if there's 5 men suddenly in your house. But it was all really smooth sailing. So, in terms of my friend having 5 kids of all kinds of varying ages, I knew that that nuanced approach would be right. So, now over to you. I want you to think about how you can put yourself in this spot where you are ready to be recommended. I think that the times of being vague and mysterious and like hoping that your client will find you or Google you or figure it out, no, that time is over. People are busy, exhausted, impatient, stressed. They need that answer to their problem that they're trying to solve. And so, what we need to do is we need to show how you can do the job. We need to say who you are and really share that mission. Share what it is that you do, what you are all about. Secondly, your experience. Show us that you understand the assignment and you have delivered and perfected this again and again. So many times, especially in my coaching practice, people will come to me on our first session and be like, oh, I haven't really had a coach before, so I don't really know how this is going to go. And I always take that moment to put their mind at ease. It's okay. I've coached hundreds of people just like you. It's all going to be okay. We're going to do this, we're going to do that, and then we're going to do this. And you can feel that deep exhale. When we are putting money into our businesses, into our lives right now, I think we are all at a time, no matter how much money that you have, you are consciously spending. And so you don't want to be in a situation where you're going to be disappointed or you're not going to get what you paid for. What is the problem that you solve and how do you solve it? I want you to get this into a really snappy sentence in a way that is so clearly understood. This moving company, it was so straightforward. This is what they do. We come and pick up your stuff, we drive it safely, and we unpack it at the other end. We put your stuff in your room and we charge 2 grand for it. Like that was the whole thing. And so having no negotiation of like, I'm not really sure, I don't really understand what they do, that 2 grand meeting and exchange would not have happened. I want you to think about what are your added extras, your bonuses, your unexpected surprises. So, one of the things that I think about in terms of my coaching is that I bring in some of my acting experience. And with that, I'm trying to come up with a new phrase rather than like a cringe role play. But one of the things that I do is we really speak aloud your goal. We refine it, we embody it, we tune into it rather than going, okay, I'm going to write down this goal in a snappy sentence. Can you say it? Can you embody it? Can you bring it to life? And because of my acting training, I'm always there to support that process. Being clear on what you are not. Now is not the time to be all the things to all the people and bend and flex and just, I'll be whatever you want me to be. If you do that, you're not going to do the deep work. And having those firm boundaries, those firm lines in place is so, so important. Do you have an easy call to action? What happens next? How can somebody move the process forward? You have to spell out your next steps. Make it really clear for somebody to know what happens. So many people talk themselves out maybe of taking the next step. It's like, oh gosh, I've now got to fill in a whole big form. I won't do it today. How can you move somebody into that client or customer? Finally, how do you make them feel? What is your nuanced approach? How do you take care of people? How are people going to feel safe in the experience, in your business? It's really important to understand that and really think about where you're up to in that process. I would love to know from you what has landed. And if you would like to book a strategy session, I would love you to check out nickyraby.com/sessions. If you are looking at tweaking your selling or your pricing or your packaging and it needs some refinement, send me a message and I can help and support you. We can even set up a chat first and go from there. Finally, if you know that you need to work out the infrastructure of your website, your digital disco, as I call it, your content, your online presence, like you want to welcome in those sales. You want to be the go-to person and you don't want to repeat yourself constantly on the phone. Come and check out your digital disco. There are 3 ways to join, as I've shared here. And if you add magic at checkout, you can save 20%. There's an online course version, there's a digital disco with a strategy session, or you can work alongside me one-on-one for 30 days and get this digital disco moving and shaking. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and follow and share with a pal, and I will see you tomorrow on the next workshop. Lots of love.